Come, let us explore the meditation posture no one talks about. This evening's lesson is drawn from the meditation manual Easy Enlightenment, which is available for free download. Together. Our mind dwells in our central nervous system. In our central nervous system dwells in our physical body of flesh, blood, and bone. The advantage to this is that we could make subtle adjustments to the manner in which we sit, thus enhancing the duration and profundity of our practice of meditation. The Mahasiddhas, or great Buddhist yogis of India and Tibet, organized the sitting instructions in an outline known as the 7-point posture of Vairocana. The first point concerns our legs. We could find a so-called Mexican yoga blanket online for about $20. We could fold it in such a manner as to approximate a 24 by 18-inch rectangle. Remember to wash it weekly, for the work of sitting could be sweaty business. The majority of contemporary contemplative art depicts the Buddha sitting in a full lotus posture. What an excellent example of the effect of patriarchy's toxic elitism upon art. For few can comfortably and sustainably assume that posture, or asana, for 2, no less 4 hours daily. The most ancient Buddhist art, however, depicts Gautama Buddha, or Shakyamuni, sitting in what some would describe as merely the quarter lotus posture, wherein one leg lays flat upon the other, like a sandwich. It is important, therefore, to remember that it is our hips that are ball joints, whereas our knees are merely hinge joints. Treating our knees as if they were as omnidirectional as our hips. Could lead to needless and unnecessary injury. By experimenting with our hip joints, we could rest our instep upon the blanket instead of on the bony crowns of our ankles, which could be needlessly painful. After a lifetime of sitting in chairs, the quarter lotus pose could feel like an impossibility. We therefore remember not to force the posture. Once we have assumed as sustainable a version of this posture as we can, though ungainly and asymmetric it may be, we could surrender to temporary imperfection. Sitting for as little as 5 minutes every 12 hours or so for just a week or two could allow time and gravity to work their so-called magic, as they return our bodies to a semblance of the flexibility we once enjoyed as children. Many find that by setting a circular meditation cushion, or zafu, upon their folded yoga blanket and resting one's tush upon it enhances both the short-term comfort as well as the long-term endurance of their sitting. We could find a zafu online for about $50. The better ones are filled with buckwheat hulls and have a side zipper through which we could add more hulls once the old ones have settled. The second point concerns our hands, which we explored in great detail in a previous chapter addressing Bengali crease counting. The third point concerns our spine. With each inhalation, we could generate a vertical traction between our tush and the top of our head. As if we were pulling our head out of the warm, dark place we sometimes keep it. During each exhalation, we are wired to subtly relax this traction. The fourth point concerns our shoulder blades or scapula. With each inhalation, the vertical traction of our spine could subtly open our shoulder blades in a manner reminiscent of a hungry vulture spreading its wings to protect its meal from greedy competitors. Vultures are often referenced in Buddhist teachings as a reminder of the inevitability of the various forms of impermanence, which, although inconvenient and sometimes frightening, could aid our training in relaxation and release. The fifth point concerns our head, with each inhalation subtly dropping our chin down towards the breastbone or sternum could be the natural consequence of subtly pulling the top of our head up while simultaneously opening our shoulder blades. The sixth point concerns our mouth. With each inhalation, our jaws could subtly part, though lips remain sealed. And a subtle smile could start at the corner of our lips, ascend, pull at the corners of our lips, ascend to the apples of our cheeks, and perch upon the crow's feet of our eyes. As the tip of the tongue gingerly touches the roof of our mouth behind our front teeth or incisors. The seventh and final point concerns our gaze. Although some insist there are supernatural benefits to be had from staring at either the sky, the horizon, or even the tip of our nose, our inhalation's subtle kinesiological momentum of spinal traction, scapular opening, and chin dropping strongly infer that pointing our face straight ahead while one's gaze drops to a place about 1 or 2 meters before us is most natural and sustainable. Some squeeze their eyes tightly closed, open wide their eyes as if in surprise. Some hold their eyes at half-mast, while some their eyes gently close. When we exercise the courage to experiment and listen to our body's ever-changing needs. Yes, this 7-point posture of Vairocana could feel overwhelming. May we therefore give ourselves permission to have a learning curve. Like the archetype of Shakyamuni Buddha or Gautama sitting in peace, may we too practice mindfulness and meditation. Having completed our opening lesson, it's time for us to shift gears. It is Luke Skywalker, Friday evening. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi, after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is the Dzogchen Samde Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I have harnessed my autistic special interests, as well as my ADHD hyperfocus, to spend about 80, 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that I can become your personal, nerdy, neurodivergent guide to nirvana. Welcome, my friends, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. For the remainder of this evening's live stream, let's play with the latest iteration of very easy meditation practice text, or sadhana, if you're nasty. Sturgeon's Law reminds us that 90% of everything sucks, including so-called meditation teachers. These villains, poo-poo, would rather be rigid than flexible, fearful than loving, superstitious than rational, controlling than laid back. These guys would rather be elitist than egalitarian, cryptic than lucid, competitive than cooperative, cruel than kind. Therefore, it should come as little surprise that these goobers implore their students to over-focus and over-analyze, thus abusing and exhausting both their medial as well as dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. Doing that increases the probability of their students presenting with symptoms of depression, no less triggering their amygdala, the seat of anxiety and aggression. Fortunately, neither the amygdala nor the prefrontal cortex constitute the entirety of our central nervous system. When we passively cooperate with our sympathetic as well as parasympathetic nervous systems, we calm our amygdala and gently stimulate our anterior cingulate gyrus, which functions as the hub of our mirror neurons, the seat of empathy, which is the root of both compassion and love. How do we do this? Well, every time we inhale, we are already wired to automatically access the sympathetic nervous system ensconced within the middle third of our spinal cord, which has evolved to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination. Every time we exhale, we are already wired to automatically access the parasympathetic nervous system, divided between the lower third and the upper third of that same spinal cord. This parasympathetic nervous system has evolved to support both physical relaxation as well as mental release to such a degree that which we noticed during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel less stressful, less permanent, and even less defining. So what's the trick for us to passively cooperate with these processes? Easy. Every time we feel air enter our nostrils, silently and mentally we can recite the demonstrative pronoun this. Every time we feel air exit our nostrils, we can silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease. Let us sit sustainably and practice together. The moment you have a specific question about either Buddhist philosophy or meditation, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window, for I tend to check for questions approximately once every 13 minutes or so. The moment you have any question about Buddhist philosophy or meditation, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window, for I tend to check for questions approximately every 13 minutes or so in the interim. But the key is to passively cooperate with our sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems by silently and mentally reciting the demonstrative pronoun this each time we feel air enter our nostrils, and by silently and mentally reciting the one-syllable verb ease each time we feel air exit our nostrils. Doing so is the most efficient way to practice the awareness and release that are also known as mindfulness and meditation. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 11 hours, I would very much like to return to lead tomorrow's morning meditation class, as well as group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.